Ooh, ooh. Big fish ish, man. Y'all know what it is. Shaking my damn head. You ever just have stuff like annoy you to the point where like you just get frustrated? Like you just sit there. Like literally, I just had this experience to where I just, just got annoyed. And, normally I could just snap out of it and I still could, but I just decided to just sit in my annoyance for a little bit. And I'll share with y'all exactly what I'm annoyed at. We're sheep. Like we're just sheep. We're just sheep. And I'll tell you exactly why. Let me grab my notebook. Let me grab my notebook. I wrote a couple things down, just a couple things to make sure that I hit on. We just did the show talking about propaganda, talking about how so many of us are sheep. We just believe whatever we hear. If it comes from a quote unquote reliable source, we're lazy. And by reliable, what do I mean? What's quote unquote reliable nowadays? We talked about how the news and the government are now with that what is it called, the Smith-Mundt Act. I forget exactly what the act is, but it pretty much legalizes propagandizing U.S. citizens. So it used to be legal to put propaganda out for outside of the United States to the rest of the world, but now it's actually legal to to put propaganda, aka just lies, out to the public in the United States. So that means the news that we're receiving, uh, anything that the government may tell us. How you know if it's true or not? We don't. And too many of us are lazy and don't want to actually do the research on our own. So what triggered all this? So if y'all are familiar with, there's some fires up in Canada, and a lot of that smoke, terrible air is coming down into the United States. And a lot of it hit Jersey and New York to the point where people were sending me photos yesterday because I'm down in Miami. People were sending me photos and it looked crazy. It looked like there was actually a fire burning somewhere in New York and New Jersey. And wherever these people were, it seemed like it was very close. Like the air was red, foggy. Um, a couple people said it just looked like I was like driving through a cloud, when they were going over like the Tappan Zee. And every news station was saying that the air quality is bad. Well, I should say most. I don't even watch the news, so I can't really tell you exactly what the news stations were saying. But through social media and stuff, I still see what some of the news outlets put out there, and they were saying how the air quality is bad. Stay in the house. I heard a couple people saying like it's like the equivalent of like smoking a certain amount of cigarettes. They were just saying it's just bad to be outside. So they tell you be inside, have your air conditioning running, but is that healthy? Like, where's that all that air that's coming in the house coming from? Or are y'all just constantly recirculating the same air in the building? That doesn't seem too healthy. And so I told my parents, I said, yo, y'all should come down to Miami. Like, what's holding y'all up? And like, why would you just stay there with bad air? And I spoke to a few people that had the ability to come down. And a lot of people just kind of like, oh no, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta run some errands, or I just don't feel like going coming, I don't feel like going anywhere. So it was mind-boggling to me. And then I have a race on Saturday in Jersey, and I had a few meetings tomorrow that I scheduled because I was supposed to come back. I was supposed to actually be boarding a flight maybe 10 minutes ago out of Miami, coming back up to Jersey. So I booked the flight, then I canceled the flight yesterday. Then I booked it again this afternoon or maybe at like lunchtime. And then I canceled it again because I just kept like, even when I booked the flight, they're saying like, oh, there's an advisory going to New Jersey and New York. And I just couldn't get over. I'm like, why am I leaving this beautiful air in Miami, like this paradise, to go back to New Jersey and New York with terrible air quality. It just, I just couldn't make sense of it. And the people that I was talking to, I was asking them, I said, yo, why are you even here? Like, why are you there? Like, if, like, just think, I was actually having a regular conversation. I said, why are you there? Like, if there's bad air, like, why are you to the point where you have to go outside? Um, that these particular people, I said, why are you here? And they just said, oh, well, I got to go to work. I got to do this. So work's more important than your health. Now, obviously, me throwing out there, you're going to gauge it. Obviously, if you think that, all right, I could just be inside, outside for a little bit, get my work done, we're going to go to work. Totally understandable. But it got me just thinking about what we prioritize in our lives. And then it got me thinking to 2020. Here you have a situation like 2020 where there wasn't red smoke throughout the air. It wasn't, anything that you could see. Um, but the government and the news made a big deal out of it. Not to say that they shouldn't have. I'm not going to go back and forth, not on this video on that. But because the government said, oh, there's something bad out here, you got to do this to take all these proper precautions before you go outside. Matter of fact, don't go outside. Stay in the house. Don't get any sun. You know what I mean? Don't come outside and get fresh air. And then you have something where the air is clearly terrible. You can see it. Matter of fact, you can't see it. That's how much you can see the air. You can see it. You can smell it, taste it. It's bad air. And it got me thinking about fires. Most people in fires, the fire doesn't necessarily kill the person. It's the inhaling the smoke. So I'm like, damn, why would you just be out here like just, and for me, it was like comparing like, yo, you going to go to this smoky bar where it's just full of smoke, no, whatever they call it, like the filter, no air filters, no nothing, or you can be in fresh air. Like, so I was going through it. I'm like, yo, and I just kept getting frustrated. And part of that was just on me because I want to go back and do this race in particular, because this is the race. I don't know if y'all followed me on social media, but this is the race that kicked my ass like 3 months ago. To the one that I just kind of just showed up, and I was actually preparing for something totally different. And then I did this conditioning, this strength conditioning type of thing, and it wore me out, this high rocks. So I was like, nah, I need to get my get back. So I've been training for this. I want to just get it over with just so I can, figure, my time was terrible for the first time. And I just knew that if I train, I'll have a better time. So I just wanted to, just for me, compete against my old time and just crush it. So here I did all this training, and so I want to go back, and I still in my head am contemplating going back tomorrow because the race is on Saturday and it's indoor. But I just, something is just weird about me going back, and it's just, I don't know, it's tugging on me to the point where it's like, why? Why? And me going back to do the race, that's more of an ego thing, but it's not healthy. Just having the air is not healthy. And when I speak to a few other people, they said, oh, well, the air is better now. You can't, no, you just can't see, maybe the air is better, but what is better? Is it still unhealthy? So when I was having all these conversations, it triggered a whole bunch of other stuff, and I totally understand. Let me make it very clear. I totally understand people, having to go to work, people having to, or whatever you decide you have to do, that you decide what that have to is. Totally understand that, can appreciate that. But it just got me thinking overall that here you have this situation because the news outlets aren't making as big of a deal. And obviously, I know it's something totally different. However, if people don't, if the news outlets and the government doesn't come out and say, you should stay in the house, you should do this, people will just keep on living their lives. Like here, my pops told me that, he went to the Y today, and there's, normal people at the Y. And I'm sitting here saying, like, yo, first off, a lot of older people go to the Y. And I'm like, technically you should be in the house, but going to the Y, that's something healthy. Not even really, you're working out and everything like that. So I'm not too mad at that. But when it comes to especially like running regular errands to where there's just as many people out and about, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it just shows that unless the government tells us do this, don't do that, then we won't make these decisions for ourselves. We won't have any urgency within ourselves until people have to put this fear in us that something terrible will happen if we don't, if we do go outside. Here there was something where, and of course, with 2020, we didn't know about it at first, all this other stuff. So I understand that as well. And shoot, I wasn't trying to, get caught up, but I also wasn't, I'm very much not the type to just be feeding into, whatever people tell me. Like I'm the type that if all this smoke and stuff, I need to get out of here, not just because of the smoke, because I'm thinking like, yo, they may throw some chemtrails, maybe may do some weird stuff and disguise it as that. What do we always talked about it. We talked about it on the Wake Up Show the other day, where it's so funny how whenever there's a situation that happens that they don't necessarily want us to concentrate on, something else big happens. So it's almost like the, throw the smoke bomb and then do something. So I'm just I don't know. I'm very skeptical when it comes to things like that. And so just because I don't have any trust in the news outlets, and I don't have any trust in the government or most people in general, for that matter, just based on how society is right now, I don't trust people to do anything that is not in their best interest. Or let me rephrase that. I trust people to always act on their best interest and stay in their comfort. So they're going to do those two things. What do I want? What's in my best interest that's in my comfort, like in my comfort zone. People don't like to be uncomfortable. So it just, I guess I'm just on here, venting to y'all, but just more so giving y'all something to think about, because we need more free thinkers overall. We need more free thinkers overall. And, like I said, back to 2020, when you think about what was going on, literally, because there was so much fear and the unknown, the stuff that they were telling us to do was the opposite of what we should be doing. I'll give you an example. Not getting fresh air, not getting vitamin D from the sun. Them not telling us, them more pushing you to get a jab rather than to take vitamins like vitamin C, high doses, all these different things. Them not telling us the natural things that we can do, but instead only pushing the things that big pharma can make money off of. That's why I just don't trust any of it. I don't trust any of it. And this kind of, like I said, it led me down a rabbit hole of my own thoughts, to be reminded that we don't care about our health. We definitely don't care about our health. We hear or we watch, they make available food documentaries. I was thinking about everything. I'm like, food documentaries, people working out. I was joking around with somebody and I said, you want, somebody to be on, focus on crystals and that the healing power of crystals, but then you perfectly fine walking out in terrible air. Like you want, and that's just the world that we live in. I feel like it's comfortable, talking about crystals. It's comfortable talking about your horoscopes. It's comfortable talking about or I don't know, embracing all these other healing aspects, but a lot of times those are the same people that you won't work out, you won't eat healthy, you eating Doritos, but then thinking crystals are going to save you and heal you. All these documentaries that come out talking about people eat what you want, and the documentary is talking about meat, meat consumption and how. Let me not even get into that, but let's focus on look at the food that we eat, Popeyes and all this other goofy stuff that we're eating food at the bodegas, all this chopped cheese, all this. We are literally putting garbage in our body. And unless I guess they mandate you eat healthy, you won't. Unless they mandate that we work out, we won't take that responsibility on ourselves. Why? Why do we have to get instructions for us to do what's in our real best interest? What's healthy for us? What's intelligent for us? What's going to lead us to success in all these different areas, unless and maybe it's because, is this what school does to us? Is this the indoctrination of just school, us just from such a young age being told what to do, instructed what to do? You do this, and you always have a teacher, always have a coach, all these, to the point where we are just, our brains are crippled to the point where we can't think for ourselves. We can't think logically for ourselves. We can't simply just do what makes sense. And I get it. And probably people probably agree to the point where, with this point where people want to work out, people want to eat healthy. But when the actual time comes to make that decision to go left or right, to eat healthy or unhealthy, that decision becomes very difficult. And we choose unhealthy. We choose to do what we're comfortable doing. We choose to do what tastes good, what's saltier, what has more sugar. All these different things. Life is about decisions, right? Life is about decisions. And when we can't think for ourselves, those decisions that we make are going to be somebody else's. Those decisions that we make for our own well-being should not be somebody else's. Right? Like, we want to argue pro-choice and all this other stuff and that in different areas. What about the choices that we make in the day-to-day that are going to be what's in our best interest? What's healthiest for us? What's going to get us to the goals that we want to get to? What's going to put us in the best possible position to be there for our loved ones, to provide for our loved ones, to protect our loved ones? All these different areas, it all comes down to the decisions that we make. And a lot of the decisions come down to the information that we either choose to ignore, or the information that we consume, or the information that we'll go out and figure out on our own. Because nobody's going to care about our health the way that we do. Like, why do we put the responsibility and onus on people that we don't even know to tell us what's in our best interest? That responsibility should be on us. That burden should be on us. It should be one that we gladly accept. I like I said, it's just, and maybe this is why I have such, just feel like my energy is just low right now, because I'm just confused. I'm just confused. And like I said, it wasn't just about this particular situation with the air quality, but it just reminded me, and maybe it was the show on yesterday, yesterday was Wednesday. All this stuff, all we do, we're like, I don't know. We're just like sheep that just get herded in a particular way, like everything. And the older we get, the more broken we get to where we can't think for ourselves, to we just believe everything it is that we hear from the news, from the government, from whoever it is that we just like, you know. We just like, oh, I like this news outlet, so therefore I'm going to believe everything they say. Or I'm just going to trust, this particular person, this politician, or this because they care about me. It's almost laughable. It's almost laughable when we really think about it. And I'm sure I'm not putting, I've been there. I've been gullible to the point where, and they're smart because what do? They use a lot of the fear mongering, right? To get us to make these decisions. And then when they don't use it, you kind of feel like, oh, it's no big deal. We're good. They said, if you have asthma, you should stay inside. But so it's just something for us to think about. It's something for us to think about, us figuring out different ways that we can challenge what's become our own norm. We can challenge the information that we allow ourselves to consume, right? Shouldn't that what we always be doing? When you challenge something, it allows you to either figure that it was wrong or double down on it and be sure that it's right. So I want us to just think about it in a few different areas of our lives that really impact us when it comes to health, our finances. But I really want to focus on just the health aspect because we are literally allowing ourselves, based on the decisions that we make, to steal years of our lives. We all talk about how important happiness and enjoyment is. But a lot of these decisions that we're making are robbing us of our happiness and enjoyment of life just because we're comfortable right now. It's like we can't see around the corner, or we just can't see what's right, not even around the corner. We can't see what's right in front of our face, maybe just 20 yards ahead. We are going to become the decisions that we make. What we are going to become later on, the decisions that we make today. Who we become later on is determined by the decisions that we make today. It just is what it is. So if we don't do a better job of putting the onus and responsibility on us to research, to not just be gullible and believe everything it is that we hear just because it comes from a news outlet or because it comes from the government. When we can remove ourselves from that type of thinking and give ourselves a different perspective to where we're challenging what we hear, to where we're looking a little bit deeper and not just accepting it, what it is that we're told, to creating a perspective that allows us to care about our well-being more than, to put that responsibility on us more so than anybody that we don't even know. We don't even know. And to maybe think about our priorities, because like I said, work is important. I totally understand. But it just seems like health should be bumped up a little bit on that priority list. It really just seems like it should. I don't know whether, we've just accepted a certain, way of living to the point where it's like, I don't need to be here that long. Maybe it's because we're not enjoying life that much, but I just can't imagine making decision after decision that not only destroys our health, but it also, puts the people around us in a compromising position. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy life and the fruits of my labor, the spoils of these wars that I'm fighting. You know what I mean? Like I want to really enjoy it. I don't want to not be able to run around with my kids. Here I was thinking in my head, my grandkids. Shoot, there's people that can't even run around with their kids just because they've neglected their health. So it's on us. I just wanted to give y'all something to think about, when it comes to a lot of this. But we have to stop with the sheepish mentality. We have to figure out a way to think for ourselves, to create different groups, maybe in our own communities, in our own village, whoever, you trust, your friends, whoever, maybe, y'all can do it together, explore some of these different things, explore how to inform ourselves a little bit differently and a little bit more thoroughly to where we can hold ourselves accountable to making better decisions. And that's why I said, with the group, it may make it a little bit easier when you have the group holding everybody accountable rather than, just you to make those decisions. When you make a commitment where it's involving other people and you don't want to let other people down, that may be what you need to make those difficult decisions when it's unhealthy or healthy. When you get do I want fried chicken and fries, or do I want something on this, one of these healthier options? It's just something for us to think about, because if we don't, we all know what's going to happen. What's the number one cause of death? I believe heart disease. I believe heart disease is the number one cause of death. Diabetes, all these different things that are directly impacted by our health, what we eat, what we put in our body, whether or not we exercise. When we talk about maximizing our potential, only way to maximize our potential is to be healthy, to be able to act on certain opportunities, to be able to impact others in a positive way, to have the energy to do all these things. The fuel, it's important what we put in our body. It's important how we take care of our body, and to have a balance. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to be a super straight person all the time where it's like, I only eat broccoli and whatever, all the broccoli and brown rice every day, whatever it may be. Nah, it doesn't have to be that. But it's like we're all going to, most of us, we're going to enjoy a drink here and there. You may smoke a cigar, others people. I ain't with the cigarettes. You shouldn't. Dead those. No balance with that. But, if you're going to do something here and there, indulging in something that's unhealthy, then the least we can do is balance it out a little bit with the healthy behavior. We live in a space where we don't even try to balance it. We're just super unhealthy. And we don't pour into the healthy cups at all. Why? Because nobody's mandating it. Think about that. Somebody has to mandate us to do certain things to be healthy, to eat healthy, to not eat food that is not even allowed in other countries. A lot of the stuff that we consume here, these ingredients are like banned in other countries. Here we are. We like to pat ourselves on the back. America, we're so great. And we are. We are. But we need to get a lot better in certain areas. And this is one of them. This is one of them. And we all see it. We all see it with obesity, heart disease, diabetes, all these things that I'm mentioning. It's just time for us to not have to wait until a doctor tells us to change our lives. Let's just do it for ourselves. Let's do it for our kids, our family, our parents. And it's going to take us doing a little bit more work. But shoot, we on our phones all day. Look up some healthy options. Look up some healthy exercises. Look up some things that we can do with the limited time that we may have. Because just those small things can compound into years later on. Years, and not just years of being on earth, just being here alive, but really living. I don't want to just be alive. I want to be able to live. I want to be able to enjoy all this, take advantage of all these opportunities with the right mindset, knowing that I have a certain amount of energy, all these different things. This is what I'm really looking for. So I guess this would be the challenge for everybody. Think about it. think about these words that I'm saying. Maybe you have some positive takeaways from it. Maybe it just doesn't apply. And if chances are, if you listen and at the end of this, then something grabbed your attention. So let's take some ownership of our health first and foremost, but then just to getting certain knowledge. This goes beyond just health. It's just an overall responsibility that we need to take on ourselves to not just trust everything that's said to us, to not be lazy and just accept everything that's said to us. A lot of times it's just opinions. A lot of times people will tell you stuff and, it's true. I'll tell you something, but I also say, do your own research for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. You may be able to teach me something like, oh yeah, you were right there, but in this area, yo, I think you may be off a bit. Or, yo, you're completely off. Look at what I learned. I'll be excited to learn that. Thank you. We need more of that. We got to stop idolizing people just because they're in certain positions and thinking that we can just trust everything that they're telling us. They may have good intentions. This is what I'm saying. May have good intentions and still may be wrong. Still may encourage us to do some unhealthy stuff. Still may not hold us accountable to being healthy, to moving in a positive way. All these different things. So, part of our integrity, when it comes down, and we always talk about integrity, part of that integrity, being honorable, is taking a lot of these responsibilities on ourselves. So therefore we can impact the people that we love. So I'll leave y'all with that. Strength and honor, onward and upward, get to the bag with integrity and great health. All right. I'll see y'all soon. Appreciate y'all tuning in with me. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you dislike, tell me why. All right. I'll see y'all soon. Ooh.